Best people is one of those ones that, everybody understands this, but almost nobody does it. I'm pretty clear about this. The absolute key to the success of your organization is the quality of the people that you get on your team, period. Now, I say that, you nod your head, the people listening are all nodding their heads. Then you go to step two, then have you created a pipeline of insanely talented people into your organization where you can find, grow, retain, train, and keep the absolute best people on your team. And very rarely do I see organizations that see talent acquisition as a strategic advantage. And I believe in today's world, there's only two competitive advantages left, which is a culture of continuous innovation and a culture of extreme customer focus, which are both driven by incredibly talented people.
Mm-hmm. I like your analogy in the book here, talent times culture equals profit. And I know for small businesses, a lot of the guys I coach and counsel don't think proactively about the culture piece. What kind of advice do you have on how to build a good culture proactively? What are the tactics? You know what I mean?
Oh, well, here's a couple pieces of advice. First of all, you cannot mandate a culture. You can't say this is the way our culture is going to be. It rises up from within the organization, the values of the individuals. The way that you do it is you look for people doing things right, and then you capture stories. You create, what's the word I want to use here, sort of a history of the organization with great stories about how people in the past have done things, and when highlight it. The other thing that I've always done is, as in the couple of companies I've owned and run and the other ones I've consulted with, is I write a very heartfelt memo once or twice a year, usually 6 or 7 pages, laying out the things that I feel are the most important for everyone to focus on, the values that we all share. So I try to tell people in as an honest and straightforward and really frank, truthful way, this is what we're trying to do together. This is the culture we're trying to create. This is why it's good for all of us. And I found that by doing that, I keep the conversation going, and I make it very vivid to people to understand what we're trying to do together and why an awesome culture is so important.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
I was going to say that a lot of people complain that, John, I get the best talent, but I can't afford them. I can't just throw money around. I'm a startup. I'm a small business. The truth of the matter is talent does not come for money. Talent comes for a reasonable salary, a fair salary, and a great culture. They want to work with really cool people on fun projects, doing meaningful work and enjoying their work. And as long as you pay them about what they would make any place else doing the same job, but you give them an awesome culture, you can absolutely attract the very, very, very best people to your team.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with that 100%. And all the studies say money is 3rd or 4th on the list, right? In terms of why someone works for a company.
If not further down. I mean, the Great Places to Work study, it showed up number 11.
Wow.
And that's 2.3 million workers, Gallup poll across the United States. The things that got ahead of it were, I want a fun atmosphere. I want it to be a family-like atmosphere, someplace I have friends. Maybe my best friend works with me. I get treated fairly. My opinion matters. People listen to me. I take pride in the organization, and I get praise from someone in the organization at least once every 7 days. And last but not least, which is a new one which just got added, is I feel like my work is meaningful. I'm not just here to get a paycheck or earn money for the company, but I'm making a difference in the world. When you look at those things, which are all what I call atmosphere issues, they don't cost any money, that's something you can give in abundance, and that kind of a culture, fun, fair, friends, family, pride, praise, that's what brings the absolute best people on your team and makes them tell their really cool, smart friends they need to join the team too.
Agreed, 100%. And I always try to take it, as far as possible and as deep as possible with these entrepreneurs. You got to be proactive. Put it in your plan. Put a line item in your plan about building culture, and figure out what that looks like, and how it looks, and how many meetings, and when, and town hall meetings, and e-newsletters, and make it extremely tactical to bake that culture and to tell those stories, and get really, really specific. The other thing that I think go ahead.
I was going to say, and the reverse of that is deal decisively immediately with anybody that violates the values and violates the culture.
Right.
Because if you allow a top performer, no matter how good they are, to violate the values and run roughshod over the organization, people understand that culture doesn't mean anything, money means everything, and then the culture is destroyed.
Agreed. That's great. And this links to your next point, I think, which is robust communication, your point number 3. Robust communication, both internally and externally, sets the tone for culture. So speak a little bit more about robust communication.
Well, the big word now that I've attached to this, and it's gotten really brought to the forefront in the last several months, is transparency. I've got one of my favorite business sayings in the world is, people without access to information do not have to take accountability for their actions. If you didn't tell them, they didn't know, they didn't get a memo, they didn't get an email, they weren't in the meeting, you cannot hold them accountable. But if you're as transparent as you can possibly be, with lots and lots of open, honest, robust communication, everybody knows what's going on, you've delivered all the information, you shared it with everybody, then as a leader, you have the ability to hold those people accountable for doing something about the information you've told them.
Right.
Years ago, lack of a clear, vivid, compelling vision was the number one issue I saw in most companies that I went and worked with that were struggling. This has now become the number one thing. Most of the clients I work with worldwide that are struggling, it's lack of open, honest, robust, courageous, and transparent communication. Putting the difficult, tough, uncomfortable, awkward things on the table, telling the truth about them, and then asking everybody for help. I met with a client earlier this week that said, I can't do that. It would be a sign of weakness. And I went, no, it's completely the other way around. A great leader asks for help. They surround themselves with the smartest people they can possibly find and encourage feedback and share information and then ask for suggestions, ideas, information, help as much as they possibly can.
That's one of the hardest things I've seen for entrepreneurs. I mean, it's really, really difficult. They hold their cards generally very tight. I'm a big proponent of open book management. Share the right financials, get everybody on board, treat them like owners, they'll act like owners. So, and then there's this whole concept of authenticity. We start talking about social networking, right? I mean, the fact that all these people are on Facebook, they want to know more about you personally. So, that I think that's seeping into the culture as well. What's your take on the social networking thing and how it's affecting business in particular?
Well, two things is I want to hit on a word that you said that really I've been hearing over and over again from clients around the world is ownership mentality. I've got a number of organizations, from small organizations to very large, that I've been working with in the last couple of months, that the number one thing they've asked for help with is, how can I get my people to take more accountability, more responsibility, but really more than anything is create an ownership mentality within my culture. So that's a big issue right now. To jump to the social networking thing, listen, it's all out there on the internet anyways. The new generation that's coming up behind us is used to having full access to information, being able to Google it, look it up, see it on social networks. So trying to hold back information, trying to hide it, not sharing it, it isn't going to work.
Right.
I believe short of individual salaries or something that's absolutely proprietary that needs to be, protected for the future of the company, other than that, as much information as possible should be shared. And I'm a strong believer that if you have a really strong culture, you have great people, you offer a really high quality product with integrity and honesty, it doesn't matter if it all ends up on the internet, because it's really hard to compete against those things.
Right.
There's an old story. I'm not a sports analogy guy. There's an old story that says that the Green Bay Packers, when they were winning all the Super Bowls, only had like 7 plays. When they would line up, the other team, by the way they lined up, knew the play they were going to run, but still couldn't stop them. That's sort of the way I look at it. So what if your business plan gets out? Big deal.
Yep.
As long as you've got the team, the talent, the integrity, the honesty, and the quality, it doesn't matter if people know what you're going to do. You're still going to win in the marketplace.
It goes back to core values. I mean, it's about being proactive and very intentional with your core values. And if you're operating at a high level of integrity, then what's to hide?
Nothing.
Right. So you and I are completely...